So you're here for some life motivation. Well, normally when we talk about life motivation, we'd be saying things like, yeah, you need to identify your strengths and you identify your passions and then figure out how you can make money out of that. And for life motivation, that's certainly true. And oftentimes when we talk about it, it's about life motivation for a short period of time. However, the research is pretty clear. Most of us are going to be living through to our mid-90s, if not our mid-100s. So if you're like me, I'm about to turn 60, so I've got about 40 odd years of life in front of me potentially. You might have 40 or 50 or 60 or 30 or 20, whatever. It's a whole bunch of years in front of you. So how are you going to live those years? Are you going to survive or are you going to thrive? So my business during COVID has absolutely tanked. If it hadn't been for JobKeeper, we'd be in a deep lot of trouble. And that really got me thinking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. As you can see here, there's 5 levels of needs according to Maslow's model. And basically what he says is that we have to get that first level, which is the physiological level, taken care of first. We have to know that, we've got food, we've got shelter, clothing, something to drink. All of those need to be taken care of before we can start thinking about our next level of needs. And then the next level of needs is obviously things like safety. Am I safe physically? And do I have secure employment or secure income streams? Have I got good health? Once you get that taken care of, then you can move to the next layer and so on and so forth. Now, most of us have been pretty lucky that, we've had those sort of early levels of physiological safety and security, and even our social needs pretty much met, simply by fact of living in the Western world. COVID's ripped that rug out, hasn't it? And so, with jobs being lost and companies going bust and superannuations nosediving, most of us have seen a big change in situation. So we're, instead of down the bottom end thinking about self-fulfillment, which is what we'd be normally talking about in terms of life motivation, many of us are scooted back up to, can I keep a roof over my head? What's going to happen to me once JobKeeper stops and all those sorts of things. So in terms of life motivation and thinking about where we are right now, but also thinking about the long-term 40 years, those first 2 points that I made in terms of identify your passion, identify what you're good at, and then identify how you can make money, that still hold true. But what you want to do is turn that cash flow tap on fast. So I've been working, thinking about some projects that I can get involved in, that I'm excited by, that will get that cash flow happening. So when the government switches off JobKeeper in September, I've taken care of those first 2 levels of the needs in Maslow's hierarchy, but I'm starting to set myself up for the next 30 or 40 years. So what I want you to think about right now in terms of life motivation, if you're in that place where COVID has had a really big impact on you, then start thinking about, I need to turn the cash flow on fast, but no, I don't want you coming from a place of desperation. I want you coming from a place of inspiration. And by that I mean, you want to start thinking about and visualizing what it could look like if you were using your strengths, if you were using your passions. Now, it might mean you might have to do something you don't want to in the short term, but hold on to that longer term picture, because when you're operating from desperation, you're not going to live a life that is thriving. You're going to live a life that's surviving, and you don't want that, and I don't want that for you. So your task today in terms of life motivation is start thinking about, what am I passionate about, and what are my strengths, and how can I make money from that? And even if you haven't been impacted by COVID, it's still a good time to be doing that, because you'll actually be in a good place that your thinking might be a little bit clearer than somebody who's still a little bit caught up in the, oh my God, how am I going to put a roof over my head? And you know what? I know that because we're there at the moment. In an upcoming video, I'm going to share with you some of the projects that I've been working on to turn our cash flow tap on. I'm looking at one particular project, which is something I said I would never do, but I'm open-minded to that now. There's another project that is all about doing an online business, something that I have paid a lot of money to learn about over the years, but haven't implemented particularly well, because look, life was fairly easy doing what I was doing, consulting and things like that. So I've got to go back and relearn and turn that tap on. So I'll share some of that with you. And the third project that I'm looking at is something I've never done before. So some of those might be of interest to you, some of them might not, but this is all part of that Transform Years project where we start to think about, if you're, 40, 50, 60, now are your golden years, now are the years for you to age gracefully, and also with passion and fire right through to 95 or 105 or whatever your lifespan might be. So look forward to talking to you on the next video. Make sure you subscribe if you want to keep up with what we're doing. It's going to be a whole hodgepodge of things, anything from what we have to do in terms of to stay viable for the next 30, 40 years in terms of career and the way we contribute to society. It's going to talk about face and body and how to stay healthy and fit on the outside and on the inside, talking about mindset, talking about goals and things like that. So there's a lot coming, and I'm really excited to be sharing it with you. So I'll talk to you soon. Bye.